So, welcome to today's podcast, and I'm joined by a good friend of mine. She's
Yay.
Dutch, and it's
Hello.
Bibi, who I'm sure many people know, or Bibi Laurie Raven, or Raven Laurie, call her whatever you want, really. Bibi Buzz. Yeah, there's a lot of names Bibi gets called out there, but thank you for coming on, Bibi. How are things
Yeah.
in Holland?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here. And it's true, I get a lot of nicknames. A lot of clients also give me nicknames. They call me like Bibi the Hunter and the Link Beepster and Bibi the Linkbuilder and all that stuff. So it just goes on and on.
The link Beepster, or has anyone ever called you Justin Bieber? Nah,
No,
or is that
they
just nah?
haven't. No,
Uh, that was
just
just a bad joke.
that
Sorry,
was a
that was
really bad one. No.
That's garbage. So what? Right. So one question actually, and I actually meant to ask you this off air, and I've always been meaning to ask you this for years. What is BB your real name, or is that short for something?
Yeah, no, it is my real name. Actually, my dad comes from Indonesia, and Bibi means grandma in Indonesian. And when I came out of my mom's, you know, thing, I was very wrinkled as a baby, and that's why everybody called me grandma. So that's
Right.
Bibi. Yeah, and in a lot
Yeah.
of languages, it means honey or sweetheart or beauty or wife. But I've also heard that in Arabic or something, it means turkey. So it's the bird, turkey bird.
Yeah.
I
So I
don't
can
know.
see that the wrinkles have still stayed with you throughout your life.
Dude!
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Sorry, I had to
Oh,
do
you're
that.
so smooth.
I know. It could have been worse. I could have done the reverse and gave you some bad chat up line about you're looking well now. You know, you've aged well or something. But nah, abuse is more my thing. And I know you like a bit of abuse as well. um, but anyway, so on
Yeah.
to to what you do. You've actually
What's
got
that,
people in the
Craig?
office. People are laughing in the office as well, and I've got earphones on as well. But anyway, so on to your life, how you make money and everything else. Well, before we go on to that, um, recently invested in a kind of podcasting kind of studio. So where do you do your podcast? Like, what's your surroundings like? What's your surroundings like?
Well, this is my first podcast I'm ever on, and the only place in my house that has good lighting is the bunk beds of my son. And we've got a shitload of laundry on the bunk bed, and I'll show you guys. It is going to be so embarrassing, but look, it's good. Yes, I'm a really good housewife. You can
Yeah,
clearly see. I love
yeah,
laundry folding and stuff. It's great.
yeah. We had yeah. It's weird where people are doing their podcasts and stuff. Like all you can see is this bit of light and a bit of a background, and you have no idea whether they're sitting in a dungeon or sitting in a coffee shop or anything. But yeah, but it's all good. But anyway, on to what you do for a
Yeah.
living. You are known as Bibi the Snowflake Link Builder. And you well, I first met you probably maybe nearly 2 years ago or something in Amsterdam.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, it was a nice hot summer's night, and I was over there, and we caught up and had a chat, and obviously kept in touch since then. And obviously, I've watched you grow over that period of time. You know, you were relatively unknown at that point, I would say. Didn't really interact out with the group that you were with. But how long have you been doing link building for?
Yeah, so a bit of a background. I once started studying in the university, and it was organizational science, and another study was something with computers. I think it was like social human computer interaction. But I started working as well as a programmer, and I was partying all the time. So that didn't happen. Those studies, I I dropped out. And then I had a lot of odd jobs. And when I got pregnant, I was thinking about how I didn't want to be in an office anymore, and I wanted to be with my child. And I think you can like relate to that, with your kids.
Yeah.
So I looked into jobs you could do from home, and one of the things was social media marketing. So I applied for a job at a big truck trader. They were selling trucks all over the world. And I told them I want to work from home. And they said yes, which was really cool. So I started working from home. And while I was working, I was able to schedule a lot of the posting for the social media in advance. So that freed up a lot of time to do other stuff. And I started building affiliate sites. I became an intern at No Head Digital. They had these online internships, and then you could partner on sites and stuff. And then I learned about SEO and a little bit about link building. And I formed a mastermind there. And then one of the guys asked me if I wanted to build links for his site. So I got my client before I knew I wanted to get into link building. Yeah, and that started, I think, 2.5 years ago. And I didn't know a whole lot about link building, so I Googled it and Facebooked it, and I found this group from Dan Ray that was about link building, and I got in there, and we became friends, and he coached me, and I learned so much from all the people in there, and it just grew from there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's
really
Dan
crazy.
Ray's fault. But no, it's good to hear how you get into it, because people often go like, why link building? Why did you not choose auditing or on page stuff or something else? Why is the focus in link building? But obviously I think for you got a client before you even knew what you wanted to do, which is quite funny actually. And then you've obviously been down the road of doing that. But how did it start out? What kind of tools were you using? Because I know you're very big on outreach and doing the job properly. You
Yeah.
don't like PBNs. You don't like dodgy link farms or anything like that. So you are very much the outreach person who builds relationships with people and just has a bunch of contacts and stuff like that. But obviously there's tools. Obviously that's a pain in the ass of a job. It takes time to nurture and email a guy and try and convince him to give you a link and all that stuff. What tools were you starting out with?
Yeah, so I started with BuzzStream, which I liked a lot, but I'm not a huge organizational talent. So,
As
so
anyone,
yeah,
everyone I know is a really untidy
I have a
person.
suspicion that I have ADHD. I'm not quite sure. I never got the diagnosis, but somebody sent me a week ago. They sent me a link to a webinar that's on ADHD, so that might, there was a nice
Yeah,
hint of that person. Anyway, so I start with BuzzStream, and it's a really good tool, but I grew quite quickly with clients. It just happened. I think my social media marketing background plays into that as well, because I online I create relationships really quickly. And so when I kind of exploded with clients, the BuzzStream didn't work so well for me anymore. And then I got a demo from Pitchbox, and everything was so streamlined, and they really thought about the weaknesses of link builders themselves. You forget to email somebody back, or you forget to create a document or something like that, and Pitchbox just was like a really nice workflow. So I got hooked
yeah.
to that. Yeah, that's what I
But I
use.
think Michael at Pitchbox has done a really good job with that. Like, I think he's catered to the fact that we're lazy as well. So you can put a URL in there and it pulls all the data through and stuff like that. So I think he has done an absolute genius job with Pitchbox. And for anyone who doesn't really know much about Pitchbox was actually a tool that Michael created for his own internal use. It wasn't for public consumption, and I don't think he's that fussed on selling it to the masses. I think if you go onto Pitchbox, he'll assess whether you're the right person for the tool before you get the tool. But I'm I've got Pitchbox, and I've got other people who use Pitchbox on my behalf, so I'm not a Pitchbox expert. But I just want to talk to you a bit on Pitchbox, because obviously jumping from a tool where beginner link builders will use things like Mailshake or BuzzStream, or
Yeah.
one of those simple, easy to use out the box tools, whereas Pitchbox is a bit more complex. Like, I got a walkthrough once from Michael, and he's like, you can do this, you can do that, you can do that. And I'm like, fuck. Like, I took in probably 5% of what he said, and, you can be lost with the amount of functionality that Pitchbox has got. How did you understand or how did you find Pitchbox in terms of understanding, it's just one of those things that blew my brains, but maybe you can pick it up a lot quicker than I can. I just found that it had so much functionality that it kind of put me off at the start. I was like, oh, this is real hard. But do they have tutorials? How do you onboard with Pitchbox, and how do you understand how it all works?
Well, that's also something that I really like about Pitchbox, is that it's not just the product, but it's also the customer service. So they have a team that you can live chat with at any moment, and I just bug them all the time. Sometimes I bug them because I'm lonely and just make stupid jokes and stuff. If you guys follow my Instagram, you can see screenshots I made. I once started singing this song. What was it now? I forget, but there's something about somebody being murdered. And the guy, but they're so young, the help desk at Pitchbox, that they actually thought I was being murdered, and there was somebody. Well,
Oh,
you can see it on the Insta. And I just started really. I have my basic process, which is quite simple, and Pitchbox can do that. And now I'm just starting to use the other features. So if you use it and you start really basic, then and you slowly add more stuff, then that's the way to go. Like, they also have conditional coding, so you can do if you categorize sites on a certain type and you change your pitch according to a site type, you can put that conditionality in your outreach, and that will save you a lot of time. So it's like, if this site is a certain type, then change the email this way. That's really great, because then it's still very targeted, but you don't have to change it all the time. It just does it by itself.
So I take it it's things like that, conditions and stuff like that stood out for you, rather than using something like BuzzStream, which is obviously cheaper, clunkier and stuff like that. But what made you, or what are the main things that you would use? Why would you go to Pitchbox rather than, one of the other tools? What else does it do other than the kind of condition stuff that you were talking about there that absolutely blows your brain and says, I need to use this?
I think it was also the design, because it feels really natural. Like, the workflow is really natural. It's not necessarily those advanced features, but just if you have a lot of projects, then Pitchbox is a way better solution to not lose oversight, and to not lose opportunities that that slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
So workflow for me is really important, and that felt way more natural for a link builder like me.
So talking about workflow and stuff like that, obviously you started out working on your own. You were probably doing all of this yourself. And people will often say, like, I love Bibi, she's the best link builder out there, or whatever. How do you scale that business model? Because obviously you've got a kid and a family, and I know you try and get the work family balance right and stuff like that. So for anyone watching who is interested, or you know what it's like, people just always say, can that person actually do the work for me? It's obviously about scalability, and I know that you did start out yourself, but you've scaled up. You've got VAs who do certain elements of the job. How many VAs have you got these days?
6
VAs.
And I made and this is, I think, a really good lesson for everybody, that success of your business is great, but if you grow beyond what you can actually deliver, then it can all explode. and you lose everything. And I think that happened with me like a year ago, where I got so many clients in December. And I mean, of course, I loved it. There was like a huge chunk of money in my bank account. But then I was like, oh, fuck, now I have to deliver the links. And I wasn't great at project management, and I didn't have a solid VA team. And I basically messed up. I was late on everything. So then now what I really try to do is to have the capacity before I accept another client. And it turned out to be a waiting list, which wasn't ideal either, but it just gave me a little bit of space to expand the team.
Yeah,
and
I think
it's really important, because I think a lot of people struggle with that. And then, your reputation.
Reputation's important. And I've just been told that I'm clicking something and the mic will be picking that up. I've just been told off by someone in the office. But yeah, got a little bit of paper. You're clicking something and the mic's
Who did that? Who said it to you? Now I want to know who said it.
It's my video girl who sits over there in the background. She's
said that
over. You've probably seen her in Brighton, but yeah, she is basically into all that, and I always click pens and stuff. I don't know why. I probably get that ADHD thing that you were talking about as well.
I go like this, like.
But what the hell was I saying there? But no, yeah. So back to VAs and stuff. I think everyone's the same. They get money and they worry about the delivery thereafter. But obviously, your reputation can go to pot. And I know we've had conversations where you've went, "I'm really struggling. I'm really busy." Blah 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 blah. Yeah. And obviously, scalability is not. You don't really think about that when you're starting out in your career in this industry, because I think you're probably quite similar to me. I didn't set out to be a business owner or a project manager or managing people or anything like that. So it's a kind of weird learning curve where you've got to feel the pain first and react to that. So that I think lots of guys that do link building and use Pitchbox and everything else, I know certainly have good VAs behind them who do a lot of the outreach and the stuff with Pitchbox. They set them up with a Pitchbox account and get them to do those campaigns, which allows you to then scale and build more links. But in terms of hiring VAs, where do you go for the type of VAs? I know people say like VAs, for content, you're probably maybe looking at South Africa because the cost of living is cheap over there, but they're also native English speakers. But where are your VAs from in terms of link builders and stuff? What kind of countries are you using from?
So I use the Philippines. South Africa is actually very interesting. I want to, for my next expansion, I want to look there. Just because the Philippines gets hit by a typhoon 25 times a year.
Oh.
Yeah, and then they lose all their Wi-Fi. So I think there are like 3 islands, so you might want to spread your risk, everybody in a big city on one of the islands. But I was also looking at South Africa. But it's the Philippines. I just have a connection with those people. And I found them on onlinejobs.ph.
Yeah. That's a good site. I've been on there.
Yeah, and a friend of mine, Tega Digby. Oh dear, I hope I say his name right. He's gonna bash me for that. But anyway, so he helped me out with a hiring process where I just have this. I post a video of myself explaining about the business, and then there are people that are replying to the application, and they go through a series of tests, and it's all automated. So people just automatically drop off until there's a select group. And then I have a Skype chat with them. And that's where I really can see how their language level is. Because I like hiring green people that don't know anything about link building. But they have to have some affinity with content. So they have to know about content. They have to be able to do content ideation, come up with topics. Their language has to be conversational level. So I don't care about formal.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be as if somebody grew up in the States. So in a Skype chat, I check for that, and then I hire them, and then we take it from there. Then I start training them as link builders.
See, so a question I've got on that, what is your average retention rate in terms of you hire a VA? How long do these guys stay on board for? Is this something you need to keep hiring and firing because they become lazy, or have you been lucky enough to have a team that kind of is fairly settled?
That's a really good question, because I have been going through some team members, not a whole lot, but it almost seems like after a year they start slacking, and I don't know why that is. I mean, I do reward them well, and I pay a lot of attention to them, but I've had like 3 of them that started slacking. And I really don't know. So if anybody can give an answer to that, it's almost like they get complacent. I think they get a bit complacent. And
yeah, I think that probably does creep in, because obviously we've got mutual friends who, like Gary Wilson and stuff, who do similar jobs, and obviously I'm close to Gary because he's from the same city and stuff like that. So obviously I hear the stories of he seems to go through, a fair amount of VAs. But what I want to go back onto that kind of automated process that you said that Tega gave you, in terms of being able to automate some of that so that you're filtering, and maybe getting the 10 or the 15 best candidates for that job. Is that something that Tega shares with anyone? Is there somewhere we can get that automation, or is that like a secret?
Yeah, no, I think he's making a product out of it, but I actually don't know if you can get that yet. So yeah,
We'll find out.
Yeah, I have to find out. I have to ask him also, because I actually don't know if I was supposed to talk about it here.
If you weren't supposed to talk about it and it's not something people can get, then I'm sure people can put 2 and 2 together and maybe get something similar for themselves to develop that. Because I know there's lots of guys that have got Python scripts and stuff that do certain things that they don't publicly sell. It just automates certain elements of a job. So it's quite cool to know that even if it's not available, and hopefully it is, but even if it's not available, that people are working smartly to be able, it's quite cool to hear how you can get, because that was going to be the next question. How do you select your candidates? Obviously you've got an automated process and some form of testing, but you kind of covered that on that conversation. So in terms of hiring VAs, what is the kind of average, if for someone who's maybe a single working from home freelancer link builder person and they're thinking about scaling up, what is the kind of average cost for a VA? Because I know a lot of people go, oh God, I don't want to pay another $1,500 a month or whatever the average wage is in their country. VAs is obviously a lot cheaper, but what kind of is the Philippines rate? Is it about $400 or $500 a month?
Yeah, I pay $2.50 an hour, and then
$2.50 an hour. That's good.
And I do give them bonuses. So I haven't figured out how I'm going. I just give them random now when I'm happy about something. Give them a bonus, but I should make a system for, like, if you hit this kind of link from this site, you get this kind of bonus, or if we get a new client, you get this kind of bonus. And I do 13th month, and I'm also planning to do paid holidays and paid sick leave, but I haven't done that yet. But I will do that with this team, because I know I pay them for their country. It's an okay wage, I think. But they don't have any rights like we do, right? So that sometimes makes me feel a little bit bad, because I know that some of them, when they're sick, they'll just continue working, and that doesn't sit right with me, because I'm a snowflake. So I do want to improve that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I think that would be a sure thing to do if you wanted to retain, a really good VA. To be able to incentivize them, maybe have a real bonus structure, or sick pay or a bit more stability in their life, because I know VAs just get hired and fired, tossed on the scrap heap
I
in a
will
lot
also
of cases.
raise their salary after 6 months. So.
I think in my experience with VAs, some of them are very loyal people as well if you treat them right. I think a lot of people mistreat their VAs and treat them like slaves. And it's obviously that's where they're going to drop off very, very quickly, because if someone else comes along with better money and better conditions, you've lost a good VA. So I think it always pays. And obviously, I'm sure you've spoke to mad singers before.
I did.
His big thing is treat VAs like real people. They are real people, but give them the respect that human beings deserve, and you might actually get somewhere. So it's good to hear you're doing that anyway. And I know you're a snowflake anyway, and that would always be the case. You feel bad about pretty much anything. So it's good that that's all working.
Can I tell a quick story about Mads?
Yeah, of course.
And I had a really cool conversation with him and Brenda, his wife. And it was about how using Filipino VAs is also changing their culture a little bit and their society in a way. Because of now a lot of women, they earn more than their husbands, which wasn't like that before. And they can stay at home and just build their own business. And their husbands don't have to go out and do like really hard labor. And it causes some problems within families because they're very traditional.
Yeah.
So I've also heard stories about people divorcing for that reason. But some women are really becoming more powerful and emancipating because of it. So yay!
Yeah, I would love to send my wife out and get her to earn the living. I'd be quite happy with that one. I'd just slip away in the background. I would have no ego about that whatsoever. But it's a crazy old world out there. But it's nice to hear that there's something changing. It keeps guys on their toes over in the Philippines anyway. So.
Interesting.
But Mads and Brenda are nice people, crazy people, but
I love them.
Very, very nice.
Yeah. Awesome.
They actually stayed in Scotland for 6 months of last year. So, believe it or not, Mads used to work in Scotland prior to doing all these things. He worked for IBM, which have a base here in Scotland. So, I'm good friends with Mads and Brenda. Great people. If you're ever looking for VAs, people, they can talk to you about it and arrange it and manage it and all that kind of good stuff. So give them a shout, Mads Singers, if anyone's watching. But back to you, Bibi. What type of clients do you work for? How do you generate? So obviously you've started from earning pretty much nothing, didn't really know where you were going. You've came up, you've got some clients, you've got some VAs, earning a good living. You've got a kind of, I know you complain that you still probably don't see your family enough, and you're still trying to get that balance right, but things are going really, really well for you in a business sense, and you've got your VA and everything else, or your VAs set up and your processes set up and pitch boxes all working. Out with that, what type of clients are you working? Obviously, I don't want client names or anything like that, but what is your type of clients? Is it small businesses, medium businesses, or big businesses? And also, how does someone like you sitting in Holland, who is a snowflake, how do you generate business? Because you don't particularly have, I know you've got a strong social presence, but how do you generate leads? Because I know you're always, when you were talking to me, and I'm not going to give any names away, but you're like, do you know this guy or this guy, and you always seem to get reasonably good sized leads, and for some big companies. So be curious to know how you feel that comes about.
Oh, it's crazy. Well, number one, I'm a total Facebook whore. So I'm on Facebook a lot. And it's a great way to connect with anybody directly. So in the beginning, I just started to look at, who are the big players in here, and I started inviting them. And once I had a group of that, then other people started to accept my invitations because they could see I was connected to a lot of people they know. And some actually came to me on their own accord, like you invited me yourself. So that was funny because you could see that I was connected to a lot of people you knew. And I'm really interested in people in general, so I'll just interact with them and comment and stuff on Facebook. And that's how I get most of my clients. And now it's by word of mouth. And I also get invited to events, from SEMrush or whatever. And there I just talk to someone for 5 minutes and they remember me. And the next day I get a Skype message or an email. It's just all networking. I think that's for me the biggest way to generate leads. And they
Yeah.
come to me. I don't have to reach out necessarily.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
weird how you have worked it because you don't do SEO to your own website. Or you might. And people
Don't
go,
look at my website. It's horrible.
but people often go, and I do training for a lot of people, and people go, but how am I going to generate leads? They expect the leads to fall into their lap. And obviously people like you make it seem like they fall in your lap, and they kind of are falling in your lap. But what people are not seeing is that you, even for when we met, we didn't know each other. I was coming to Amsterdam, and you said, let's meet for a few beers.
Yeah.
And you're probably doing that with a million other people. And you've came to Brighton, you've went to other meetups, and I know you were at Take It Offline on the panel speaking there. So
Yeah.
it doesn't actually just drop in your lap. Really, you are doing a lot of work behind the scenes in terms of networking, going out and sharing beers with people, and traveling to the UK or wherever the hell you're going to. So there is a lot of people who will probably get jealous and go, that fucking Bibi gets all the work. How the fucking hell is she doing it?
Yeah.
And I think what goes unnoticed is the amount of time and effort that you put into other people. And I know, obviously, from personal experience that you help a lot of people, and you used to go in the kind of Zoom chat with all your Tega and Dan and all the other crazy guys. And again, people probably don't know that part, or a lot of people might not know that part. So you do spend a shitload of time networking and helping people and stuff, which obviously in turn turns into business for you. And it's great to see that is, because you don't do paid search. Well, I'm assuming you don't do a huge amount of paid search. Your sole lead generation is networking, which is
absolutely. Yeah. I do think what you just said about helping people, I think it's important that you don't just broadcast how amazing you are or what you can do for people, but you have to you have to spend some time personally into people and helping them, but also listening. I think a lot of people lost listening skills and are just about broadcasting. And if you're nervous about talking to someone or to maybe a big lead or big client, just start by listening, just asking questions and listen what they're saying, and from there it's easy to make a connection.
It's easy to make a connection. But one last thing I'm going to finish off on is never judge a book by its cover either, because the story when we first met was when I first messaged you, and I'm not sure word for word how it went, but you thought I was some crazy violent
True.
nutcase,
I was scared of you. Yeah, I did.
you're a scary fucker, I've heard bad things or whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then obviously we met and you're like, man, you're nothing like what I thought. And so also, and I've done that with other people as well. I'm like, that person's whatever, and then obviously met them and you're like, bloody hell, they're actually a really nice guy. So it does pay to not judge a book by its cover as well. But I thought I'd tell that story anyway, because it was quite funny when you're just like, I'm not sure if I want to speak to you.
Seriously, I thought you were like a fucking hooligan. I thought you were going to be
man.
like, beer bottles. Bleh.
a few beers and a couple of tattoos. I'm relatively quiet actually.
Yeah.
I don't actually like too much drama. A bit of drama is fun, but yeah, it's never good. But no, and one last question, Bibi, I
Yeah.
want to ask before you go for real, is if someone's looking for your services, how do you, as a link builder, price it? Do you price it per link? Is it for your time? Because obviously, and it's not to pry into your exact prices, by the way, but what I think a lot of people assume is that you have no overheads, you have no VAs, you've no pitch box, which costs you money, you've
Yeah.
no keyword research tools, and there's a lot of underlying costs
True.
for a link builder that people don't, maybe don't think too much about because they don't know much about it.
Yeah.
So how do you personally, because I know everyone's got different models. I know Gary Wilson sells it per link,
Yeah.
based on certain metrics. How do you work your pricing structure? Is it a
Yeah.
time-based thing?
So I learned a lot of link building from Dan Ray, and I based my pricing on his pricing structure. But lately, I've been thinking about moving away from that. I don't know yet what it's going to be, probably per link. But it used to be based on the number of prospects I did outreach to. So it was like 200 prospects, and then I would give a minimal link guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't meet that link guarantee, I would just continue emailing out to more people until I hit it. And if I was getting more links, then it wouldn't be any extra cost. So that was the way I was pricing. I don't know if I explained it correctly, but does it make sense?
That makes sense. So what I've
Yeah.
taken from there is you'll say it's X, whatever price for
Yeah.
200 prospects, and you'll get a guaranteed 10 links. Now these are figures I'm just making up, by the way. But I'll just give you my perception of what you just said. So you guarantee 10 links. If you send out 200 email prospects and you only get 3 links, then you'll send another another 5,000 prospects if you have to hit that 10 links.
Exactly.
And if, for example, you send that email out to another 5,000 prospects and you were to get 14 links, then they get the 14 links. There's no extra charge. That's the price, and that's it.
Yeah.
No, that seems a fairly fair way of doing it. But I'm just curious because I know everyone's got different ways of calculating their costs, and I was curious to know what you were doing. But obviously, you're thinking of the per link model. Is there any reason for that, or what makes you?
It's because niches are quite different. So for some clients, and they were very happy about it, I was over delivering, and on like giant sites, which is great for my ego, but less for my wallet because they got a really 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 good deal. And at the same time, and that's even great for the clients, right? I mean, this is what I promised, but I actually lost the client because of it. Because they only wanted a certain amount of links, and I over delivered for peanuts, as it turned out to be. And then they were like, "Okay, we're all set. We don't," because I over delivered like, I don't know, 5 times the amount of links that they wanted, and they were done. They were good with it. They were happy, and they were like, "Okay, bye." Then I was like, "Oh no, I actually did a good job," and they fired me.
Listen, that's the weird thing in this industry. You can do a really good job and you still get kicked into touch. It's a weird old game, and there is no right answer or wrong answer in terms of how you deliver, structure, price, and obviously you've been penalised for over delivering. It's crazy.
And I don't hate them for it, but it was just okay.
It's all part of the learning curve. You've just got to then adapt and figure it out and somehow change your approach or whatever, or secure your future. But no, it's good to hear that that's all working. And what's the plans going forward for 2020? Is it just much of the same, just continuing to evolve, and do you plan on getting a lot more VAs, or just keep things going at a steady pace?
So I'm a really bad planner. So that's one of my goals, to become a better planner. This year, I really want to focus on getting my project management uh, much more improved, so I can have more free time. Because I feel like I'm still working too much. And I'm also, this is the thing, I always get stuff thrown at me at the point where I think, okay, now now I'm settled in, I know what I'm doing right now. Now people ask me for consultancy and training and all that stuff. So I have to think about that again, like, how am I going to do this, how I'm going to price this, what kind of clients do I want for this. But it might be something I'm interested in to explore further. So I already have clients like that. Just got to see how that
So,
goes.
so if someone wants their internal team trained up on the Snowflake BB way of doing link building, that is potentially an option that they can do with
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I'm starting right now because people asked me, and I'll just see how it goes to do it for someone else, and how to do consultancy. Because I think when you give people advice and they don't implement it, how am I? That sometimes can happen.
Yeah.
So how is that gonna make me feel about my business?
Good. But we are sadly out of time, BB. But
Oh
for
shit!
anyone,
Oh yeah.
for anyone who wants to reach out to you for training, link building services, or any of the other stuff that you've spoken about, or just generally to hassle you online, because I know you like talking, where's the best place for someone to get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can go on Facebook and look for my name, Bibi Laurie Raven. Oh, just look
Laurie
for Bibi.
Raven?
Yeah, or just
BB Larry Raven?
that's
I'm
how you
calling
say it in Dutch.
it. I'm just BB
But
Laurie Raven, if you ask
yeah,
me.
well,
But
that's also fine. You can say it in Scottish.
yeah,
And then, or go to my website, bbuzz.com, and it's buzz with a double Z.
double Z.
Yeah,
I will put that on the screen and down below and everything when the video and stuff goes out, so that people can find you easily enough. But I'm sure they can find you easy anyway. You're not
yeah.
that hard to find.
No,
There's not too many BBs in the world. So no, thank you very much for coming on and sharing some of your journey and some of the tools you use and everything else. I'm pretty sure people will find it very helpful.
yeah, I
And
hope so.
I will catch up with you later on.
All right. Thank you so much, Craig.
Cheers.